Hello and welcome back. Today we are taking the first part of several videos looking at the brand new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition Season 2 Thunderzords from Playmates Toys. I didn't pick up the Season 1 Zords because I've got plenty of the original Megazords. However, I could not pass these up because it finally allowed me to get a Tiger Zord plus the other Thunderzords. So here we are. We're going to take a look at them. We're going to start by taking a look at the Griffin and Unicorn. So without any further ado, let's get to it. And here we have the Zords in their packaging. It's very similar packaging to the first season of Zords, which makes them instantly recognizable on the shelves for kids who may not be quite as familiar with the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers compared to maybe some of the newer stuff, but it makes it completely obvious that these are all part of the same series, which is great for both kids and adults alike. Packaging is pretty much the same for both of them. We get the Reignition logo at the top, the helmets down the side. We get a window box packaging showing our Zord within. Season 2 up in the top right left hand corner, however you want to look at it. Collect to build Mega Thunderzord, and then it tells you which Zord part you are getting. The Unicorn Combinable Thunderzord, that's our side. That's our other side, so we get the Rangers and firing action. On the back we get a product shot, a cross-sell of the other Zords in the line, a brief bio, and then we get our barcode and a cross-sell of the individual figures available on the line. So it's some really nice packaging. The Zords look well presented within. As I said, it makes it obvious for kids that they belong to the same line as the Season 1 stuff, and highlights the fact that if you collect them all, you can build another Megazord. I do find it interesting that since Hasbro bought the Power Ranger license, the Zords have been selling individually. As a result, we have been getting bigger Zords with maybe a little more detail and things than what Bandai were producing at the end. But it does seem that long have gone the days where we could expect to see and or buy a single Megazord. As a result, collecting all 5 of these will set you back about £100. They're about £20 each. Whether that's worth it and whether that's the price of admission for the Zords, we'll discuss over the course of the videos as we take a look at it. One of the key things to point out is this is a line for children, so as such it should appeal to children, it should resonate with them, it should have some good playability to it, and things of that nature. Try and get these without ruining any of the decals on this. There we go. There's our Zord. The only thing I haven't seen is instructions. Maybe there are some. Let me go take another look at the packaging. Yeah, so instructions are tucked away at the back of the packaging. We get a breakdown of how the individual Zord works and then how it works towards its combined mode, with instructions on the back for the full assembly of the Zords into its Megazord mode. We'll take a look at that as and when we need it. But here we have our Unicorn Thunderzord. There's another elastic band around the back there. This looks like it's got a small play feature to it, so let's get the instructions and take another look, shall we? So Okay, so it's got some slightly different play features to ones we've seen before. So to transform to battle mode, we need to make sure that the front leg is extended out and that these are rotated in. So it says rotating them 90 degrees. Okay, so it looks like you can have them faced up like that for its combined mode. So if you wanted, you could have it presented like that. However, the instructions do want you to fold these down, swing this back. There's a little spring in there clipping them into place. This one is, there we go. So you can have it in battle mode like that. The back strap will slide down. As we've seen, it is possible to have these in to, or slide them up, and as a result it then wheels along on its treads underneath, and we get treads at this point and here. So that moves in. So it takes, there we go. So yeah, you can have it on its treads, very similar to how the original Zord was if you want, but with a bit of force you can pull it off these clips here, these spring-loaded clips, and have that down. Then you can drop these down to give it its alternate battle mode. What I'm feeling is that all of these feel like they're on springs, and that they want some sort of mechanism which releases them. As far as I can tell, there isn't a mechanism for releasing them, and it is all by hand and force. Trying to get this part over that is pretty tough, and I would imagine a lot of kids are going to struggle with that. But I guess it is what it is. The battle mode's nice enough. I like the back plates here. As you can see, the head is on a ratchet joint, which is nicely done. Well, sorry, the neck, as is the head actually. The head is on a ratchet joint, so you can get some nice movement there. The shin guard will fold in for its battle mode. The stickers are really nice on this. I really like the decals on this. It adds some real detail depth to it and makes it quite a striking piece on its own. It does have another play feature in the fact that it comes with an oversized missile which just slides into its throat like so. It just slides in, and then all you have to do is just flick it with supposed to just, so it doesn't have any sort of spring loaded feature. It's just a slide in and then quickly snap on the back of the missile stem to propel it forward. So the picture sort of almost looks like it's flicking it. That is a really hard piece, and it actually really hurts to do that. So you're best just sort of pushing it out, which is a little disappointing. I had maybe expected some sort of spring-loaded missile or some kind of feature there. Also, this is supposed to be a unicorn. I would have thought that maybe this weapon would have been more suited for the Griffin and that drill horn. A better feature for the unicorn, but it is what it is. So there we have the Unicorn Thunderzord. It's a decent enough Zord on its own. It has a couple of nice little play features. I would argue that maybe the £20 price point's a little high for this. I think for the £20 price point, you could have easily have had a spring-loaded missile to add to that play features. Otherwise, it maybe is a little bit on the high price point, but that seems to be the standard price for these sort of toys going forward. And I suppose the other thing to consider is this is designed to be part of a £100 Zord bought individually. So your budget of £100 Zords being split across 5, so maybe some are going to have a little more on offer than others. But I think I'll just discuss maybe costs and worth a little later on as we go open the other Zords. However, as it stands, I don't mind the Unicorn Thunderzord. I do like the fact that there's a spring-loaded neck and head. But yeah, there we have that one. And then next up we have the Griffin Thunderzord. It's same packaging as the Unicorn. The only real difference is it being that it's promoting the Unicorn, that we get the product shots for the Unicorn, and obviously the notification that it's the opposite leg. But like the Unicorn, let's get this opened and take a look at the booster resistance. And there is plenty of tape holding this in place, and they have those god-awful cable ties strapping this into place. So if you're a kid, you may want an adult to help you get this out of the packaging. As well. Swing that down. There's our instructions. God awful cable ties. And again, you want to make sure you're cutting them that you don't catch those decals. And they are decals rather than paint apps. But I suppose because they're decals rather than paint apps, we do get a lot more detail with them, which is a nice touch. It could have been very easy to have just had those as yellow paint apps or plastic of something of the kind. And we get our grip. Okay. Swing the god's awful cable ties out the back. And here we have our Griffin Thunderzord. So we'll take a quick look at the instructions. Again, it's pretty much identical instructions as to our Unicorn. For its attack mode, or battle mode as it's called, you want this dropped all the way down with the rear treads folded down. Of course you can, if you really wanted to, force these all up and have it running along on its treads, and there's nothing wrong with that. That works reasonably well. But again, much like the Unicorn, everything feels like it's on spring-loaded releases. the catches for these, it's really, as you can see, it is really, really tough to get this up, and it's a real force there. But you will need them eventually plugged in like that in order to get the legs in that position. I'm assuming that they're locked in like that to help ensure that this doesn't slide around when it's in its Zord mode. But there we go. Head and neck are on ratchet joints, as we saw with the unicorn. The play feature for this one is sort of almost a drill bit, and interestingly this one actually has a front lifting latch and a missile section which slides out and then plugs in, and this one is spring loaded, so that's got a really nice spring to it and really forces it. This definitely feels like it should have been the play feature for the unicorn rather than the Griffin, but it is what it is. Play feature wise, this is definitely a lot more fun than the unicorn. The unicorn was, it's kind of just it. There's nothing exciting to it. It does fire out nice enough. The only downside is with both of them is there's no real weapon storage for the Megazord mode. It would have been nice maybe if the missiles had been a little bit smaller and could have tucked away into the Zords, but it is what it is. I do really like the way this slides in and out, giving some real fun play feature there. If you did want it to, you didn't have to pull it all the way out, but it is a little harder to get it all fitted. But otherwise that just clips into place, and there's a couple of little latches there which are eventually going to wear away, unfortunately, but it does latch nicely at the outset. Again, I really like the decals on this Zord. There have been some really nice pieces there. But there we have our two Thunderzord legs, or rather this way around, with our unicorn and Griffin. I really like these for what they are. I still think maybe the £20 price point, especially with this unicorn, feels a little bit more than maybe what it should. But they do both have some nice play features on their own. They offer a couple of sort of transformation modes if you want them to have it. Alternatively, you know, you can just go for that original sort of look and have them rolling on treads. So yeah, I think they're, I guess toys today are on the pricier side. So I guess maybe the £20 is, it is what it is. I think I would have been happier at a £15 price point for, certainly for these ones, but it is what it is. Overall, I like them. I think they are fun kids toys. I think a lot of kids are going to feel bored with them after a while if they don't have the entire Megazord to combine and play with. There's only so much you can do with these as just leg pieces. But as I said at the outset of the video, it seems to be that we've long gone the days where we could get a Megazord as an entire set. But equally, these are a lot larger than the original Thunder Megazord figure was, so swings and roundabouts. But there we have our first two Zords. Next Zords I will look at are the Lion and Phoenix Thunderzords. But there we have it. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Until next time, stay safe, and remember, freedom is a right, not a privilege.